In the autumn of 2016, in a small-town rural suburb of Indianapolis, Indiana, marketing professional and mother of two, Patricia Dresser, lived alone. Patty, as she was known to her many friends, had an active and social lifestyle. Big-hearted, fun-loving, and generous, Patty volunteered in her community, she supported her friends, and she helped out those in need. Unfortunately for Patty, it would be this kind-hearted, generous nature that would place her in the path of one very needy young man that was not interested in Patty's small offers of help. What he wanted was to take everything. Hi everyone, I'm Kevin and this is Just Thought Lounge. JTL is the true crime channel that delivers serious, well-balanced coverage of the cases that really make you think. The case we're about to take a look at today is a disturbing one. It's a story of how the best of intentions led a victim into danger, one where a confession becomes questionable, where the truth can only be pieced together from the many versions of events offered by a liar. Let's take a look. Greenfield is a small but expanding farming community. A suburb of Indianapolis, the town has managed to maintain its rural roots. There's not a lot of crime in Greenfield to speak of, at least not of the violent kind. Patricia "Patty" Dresser had made Greenfield her home. After raising two sons at the age of 52, Patty now lived alone. In October 2016, Patty's youngest son, Nick, had moved away only a few months earlier to serve in the military. Patty was a sales and marketing professional for most of her career. She had a big personality and a large group of close friends. Patty Dresser was the type of person that made real connections with people. And when she made friends, she made them for life. Her friends have said that Patty was supportive, generous, and perhaps, unfortunately, a very trusting person. On October 12th, a Wednesday, Patty returned home from work at just after 7 p.m. to discover that someone had broken into her home. The house was left in a mess, but it appeared to Patty that only some alcohol had been stolen. Aside from that, Patty noted that items of greater value remained untouched. The empty box for an expensive watch owned by her son, Nick, sat out on the kitchen counter. The watch itself remained where she had hidden it away. Beginning around 7:30 p.m., Patty began texting friends about the break-in. She took several pictures on her iPad to document the state of the house. But Patty did not call the police. She believed she knew who had accessed her house, and it was someone who had her garage door code. Patty promptly changed this code, disabled the garage door access, and locked up the house. Then, still messaging with friends, she tried to relax for the evening. The next day, no one heard from Patty. After she missed a day at work, followed by a standing weekly dinner date, her friends grew concerned and drove out to her house to check on her welfare. Their next call was to the Greenfield police. They arrived at 10 p.m. In the living room, lying on the couch, lifeless, officers found Patty. She was wearing a red dressing gown. On the floor in front of the couch, the red sash that linked around the waist of the robe was found in a pile, near to Patty's dangling left hand. One of Patty's slippers was found on the floor near the couch, while the other one was in the kitchen. They saw the grate to the fridge door had become disconnected and abandoned on the kitchen floor, and there were 3 purses sitting out, one of which had been dropped, its contents spilling out. There appeared to have been a struggle that likely began in the kitchen and then moved into the living room where Patty remained. On the couch with Patty were several pillows, 2 of which were oddly positioned on top of her legs, and described by law enforcement as similar to how one would display a pillow on a couch for decorative use. A black shirt dress was also recovered from the scene. Its significance was not immediately apparent. The dress was found on a side table next to the couch. The subsequent autopsy indicated that Patty had been killed by strangulation. The robe sash left by her side was the likely weapon based upon the width of the markings assessed by the pathologist. Patty also had injuries to her lip and chin and fingerprint-like bruises on her armpit, which occurred near the time of her death. Investigators began to catalog not only what was left sitting out at the scene, but also what was missing. Although the house had been broken into the previous day, that incident had occurred prior to Patty returning home from work. Her car keys and the car, a blue Ford Taurus, should have been located in the garage, but the vehicle was gone. Similarly, the iPad on which Patty documented the break-in through a series of photos was now missing, along with her iPhone, wallet, and Wi-Fi hotspot. There were no obvious signs of forced entry. The garage door access that Patty had determined was the first thief's entry point had been locked up. Friends of Patty's with whom she had been texting on the night of her murder all directed law enforcement to a single individual, a friend of Patty's younger son, Nick, a young man named Spencer Spielman. 20-year-old Spencer was essentially homeless. He had been couch surfing for a period and relying on the generosity of friends, and Patty. Those close to the 52-year-old mother believed that she was being taken advantage of, offering Spencer payment for doing gardening work and various tasks around the house, work that was paid up front to young Spencer, who then did not complete the agreed tasks. According to some, he acted entitled to Patty's many acts of kindness, regularly receiving funds for little to no work, and staying in her home when he had nowhere else to go. Phone records showed that Patty tried to call Spencer the night she was killed, first at 9:02 p.m., and then she sent him text messages at 9:49 p.m. and 12:33 a.m. Patty clearly believed it was Spencer, with whom she had shared her garage door code, that had entered her house while she was at work and stolen alcohol. She had previously caught him attempting to steal her son Nick's watch, and she later hid the valuable Tag Heuer to keep it safe from him. Now she came home to find her home in disarray and the box for the very same watch sitting out on her counter. In her first text to Spencer, Patty wrote, "Don't test me. I know you were at my house today. Don't ever break into my house again. I will have you arrested and thrown into jail. This is a courtesy." She wrote in the 12:33 a.m. text, "Oh, I have you on video. Do not try it again." That last statement was written all in caps. Patty was not messing around. Although she was clearly very upset, Patty still refrained from contacting the police. Patty sent her last message to someone at 12:43 a.m., stating, "Okay, kinda scared. Can't sleep, worried what crazed, drug-addicted, strung-out kids might do. I'm all locked down, but apparently worried. I just want a peaceful, easy feeling, which I'm not feeling." It is believed that Patty was strangled shortly after sending this last text message. Upon hearing the news of Patty's death, friends of Patty's were left in a state of shock and disbelief.
I got a call that night at midnight that she was unresponsive, is what my friend said. And I said, "Unresponsive? Well, where is she?" And she says she's dead. And I just screamed out. She was a good listener. She was fun to be with. We always had a good time.
By the evening of the 14th of October, 2 days after the break-in, neither Spencer Spielman nor Patty's vehicle had been located. That is, until an ex-boyfriend and good friend of Patty's, Dwayne Davis, spotted a familiar car driving on Highway 9 near Greenfield. Dwayne was returning from nearby Shelbyville when he pulled up behind a familiar-looking blue Ford Taurus at an intersection. Dwayne noticed that on the bumper of the car was a decal, one from his employer, the very same one he had placed on the Taurus that he co-owned with Patty Dresser. Dwayne had pulled up behind his own stolen vehicle. He called 911 to verify what he thought he was looking at, Patty's car. He could see two men inside.
Did you guys find the blue Taurus that was stolen from Patty Dresser's house last night?
Who's with the car?
Two white guys. If that's the car, I'll follow them real quick. They're leaving.
Dwayne followed the vehicle into Greenfield while he remained on the line with 911. Police converged on the car.
Put the keys on top of the front!
From the driver's side exited Spencer Spielman. In the passenger seat was a friend of his, Brandon Humphreys.
Drop out now! Face away from me! Put your hands on top of your head! Drop everything in your hands now!
Spencer and Brandon were brought in for questioning just after 9 p.m. on the 14th of October. The two had driven Patty's car to Kentucky, where they intended to sell some rims that Brandon had acquired. Along the way, they had made use of Patty's gas card. Spencer had a cell phone, but he did not have any phone service, so he relied on Wi-Fi to connect to messaging apps to communicate. Using the Wi-Fi hotspot taken from Patty's home, Spencer had managed to connect on the way back from Kentucky and learned that the police were looking for him. Speaking with Brandon Humphreys first, investigators learned that the pair had visited a series of pawn shops throughout the day. Brendan offered, "I'm gonna just tell you this now, just in case it pops up in the future. I did buy a TV off him. He said it came from his mom's house." The two had pawned Patty's television in Indianapolis for $150. Detectives began interrogating Spencer at 11 p.m. on the same day that he was pulled over driving her car. He admitted to being at Patty's home 2 days before, the 12th of October.
Tell me why you think you're here.
Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay.
Obviously the car.
Okay.
Patty let me use it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what we need to get to the bottom of.
I go over there to her house once or twice a week.
And we're talking about
Patty. And I clean her house and stuff. Like she pays me like $100 once a month to do all her windows.
Okay.
Like clean her floors.
In Spencer's initial detailed story, he told detectives that he was cleaning the home, to which he did not have the garage code, and that Patty let him borrow her car when he left around 8:30 p.m. on the 12th.
What are you talking about, burglary?
Stolen
car. I didn't steal no car.
About 25 minutes into the interview, the officers confronted him with details in his story that did not match up with the evidence. They told him that they knew he was lying. They knew about the pawn television and that he had used Patty's gas card on the way to Kentucky. Faced with these undeniable facts, Spencer began to piece together the first of many stories. According to Spencer's first version of events, Patty was drunk and arguing with a man named John when he left the house. He drove the car from the house with Patty's permission. Over the next 2 days, October 13th and 14th, detectives knew that Spencer had openly driven the Taurus and took friends to various locations in it. He bragged about how fast the car went and sent a picture of the speedometer to someone on at least one occasion. He also sought the assistance of others in an attempt to unlock Patty's iPad, which was password protected. As the 20-year-old continued to lie and deflect, detectives made the decision to apply some pressure. 45 minutes into the interview, Spencer was informed that this was a murder investigation and that he could be facing up to 60 years in prison.
Murder. Murder.
I didn't kill nobody.
Apparently you did. Well, you sit here and lie about everything else. Why would you lie about that?
You stole her car.
No. What?
Broke in her house, stole her TV.
No.
Stole a car, stole her MiFi.
I didn't kill nobody or steal anything.
Then you better tell us who did.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You better
I don't have the balls to murder anybody.
Maybe you didn't mean to.
What?
We're looking too good for
I didn't kill her.
Okay. Now, I've heard you say that a couple times, and it's pretty specific. I didn't kill her. Did you guys have a conversation at all on Wednesday?
Yeah, I was over there.
I know, what you guys talk about?
I can't even remember that. Just petty little like nothing bad.
No,
Just talking.
This is nothing. You guys just talking about stuff you can do, yard work, raking leaves, how you doing, what's going on.
Pretty much. That's about it. But then I left.
Spencer eventually admitted that he did in fact possess the garage code and had come into the home in the middle of the night and took the television because he needed money. But there was no altercation. He did not attack Patty, and he certainly did not kill her.
didn't kill anybody.
Then tell us what happened.
I don't
You
know.
do know.
No, I do
You
not.
know. You're playing stupid.
I'm not playing
You don't want me to
stupid.
leave all this out.
I'm not playing stupid.
Okay. Tell us about the altercation.
There was no altercation.
Okay. And tell us about the accident.
There wasn't one.
Okay. Then you're lying.
I wasn't even there that long.
After about an hour and a half, Spencer offered yet another version of events. It came as no surprise to detectives that he had made up the first account about a man named John having been at the house. The details of this new story evolved over the next 30 minutes, but Spencer continued to deny killing Patty. He said that she freaked out on him and hit him in the back of the head as he walked to the garage. She was drunk and fell off a chair in the kitchen, injuring her lip. He helped her up by the arm and walked her over to the couch. Spencer continued to offer curiously accurate details that aligned exactly with Patty's injuries and other evidence at the scene. He stated that he picked up the sash to her robe and put it on the floor next to her on the couch before he left in her car. He also indicated that there was a pillow placed behind her head, one at the side of her head, and one on or by her feet. Almost 2.5 hours into the interview, the 20-year-old was showing signs of fatigue. The detectives decided to give him a break, and he was taken outside for a cigarette. This would prove to be a turning point in the interrogation. Detectives insisted that they did not speak about the case during the break outside. They used this time to relate to Spencer on a human level, to ease his nerves and develop a rapport. When they returned to the room, Spencer started talking. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, he confessed to the murder of Patty Dresser.
I'm ready to tell y'all what happened. When I laid her down on the couch, a few minutes later, she just came up, freaking the out, hitting me and trying to scratch at me. And I just...
He took the dress and put it over her head and then wrapped the sash around her neck twice and tightened it. When he returned later to remove the dress and sash, it was too late.
I still don't think this is because you are a hateful person. I think this is something that's out of control.
Do you have any marks on you where she scratched you or hit you?
No. I don't bruise.
I mean, like when she was coming up, we're talking like bald fist coming at you.
I don't remember. It was just...
But she came
was
at you.
going nuts.
And you had the thing right there. You spun around and just tightened it. You left, you came back, and by the time you took it off, she was dead.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you know it was too late?
I don't know.
I mean, she obviously not breathing.
She was gray.
Gray. From the time that you left, you came back, how much time was it?
The morning,
Till a while.
gave the dog water and food, and left again.
Officers later photographed a scratch on Spencer's left arm. Later DNA testing revealed the presence of Spencer's DNA in finger swabs taken of Patty's right hand. As far as anyone could tell, Spencer Spielman murdered Patty Dresser for a $150 television and a 2011 Ford Taurus.
So after you left, and you pretty much knew, I mean, what did you do then? You just kind of...
I didn't know what to do. I was at Brandon's house before we rolled out to go sell his wheels off his car, and I saw her oldest son drive by in his black Lincoln. I was like, about to go down.
Did you tell anybody what happened?
I don't know.
On October 17, 2016, the state charged Spencer Spielman with murder and felony robbery. Shortly after, his defense team filed a motion to suppress his confession, arguing that it was obtained through coercion, manipulation, fabrication of evidence, and false promises of a lesser sentence.
Trying to clarify, like he said, it could be a difference of 10 years, it could be a difference of 60 years, life in prison.
The 7-day jury trial was held between July 17th and 26, 2017. Along with other evidence, the state presented the video of the interrogation, which was admitted into evidence, though hotly disputed on its merits. The defense called an expert witness on false confessions, Alan Hirsch, who testified that it is common for false confessions to come after hours-long interrogations with police that have become confrontational.
I didn't tell us the truth. Save your life.
He said often in these instances, detectives mention details about the evidence during the lengthy conversation. An innocent suspect might repeat those facts back to the officer in hopes of ending the interview. Studies show that 5% of innocent suspects give false confessions to the police because they believe they will be better off.
Be scared. I can understand that. I think you did the right thing by telling us everything. So it clears up a lot of stuff, and I think that's going to make a difference. Obviously we can't take back what happened. Have you any questions for us?
Spencer took the stand and testified on his own behalf, and he offered yet another new account of the night of the murder. In this version, he visited the house from about 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., at which time Patty gave him her television and let him borrow her car. He testified that he returned the next morning around 7:30 a.m., pulled the car into the garage, and then entered the house through a bedroom window because the door inside the garage was locked. At that time, he found Patty dead on the floor near the kitchen. He said she had black material over her face and a sash around her neck. He removed these materials. But over and over again in the courtroom, Spencer denied hurting Patty. A family friend, he said, had taken him under her wing on more than one occasion. She'd often helped, he said, gave him money when he needed it, helped him look for jobs in research college, invited him to stay when he had nowhere else to go. "Why would I bite the hand that fed me?" he said. "I know you want justice for what happened, but I'm not Patty's murderer." He further testified that he panicked and left again in her car without moving her or calling the police. For 7 days, a jury of 12 Hancock County residents heard the evidence against Spencer Spielman. Nearly 30 witnesses, including the defendant himself, testified during the proceedings. Jurors deliberated for more than 3 hours before returning their verdict: guilty of murder. This verdict despite being instructed on the lesser included offense of voluntary manslaughter. Apparently, the jurors were not convinced that the confession was false. Nor did they believe that the murder had been a result of an unplanned, heated moment that spiraled out of control. Spencer Spielman would face the maximum penalty for killing Patty Dresser. At the age of 21, Spencer was handed down a sentence of 55 years for murder and 3 years for robbery, with 5 years suspended to probation. The earliest Spencer Spielman could be released is 2054. He would be almost 60 years old. Thanks for watching. I'm Kevin. This is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you in the next one.